Well, hey, good morning. If you're new to the channel, I'm Spanky. We're gonna have fun today. Hey, we're gonna screw some stuff up, we're gonna laugh, we're gonna have a good time. Most of all, we're gonna get some stuff done. Today, we're gonna build a Volkswagen chassis. We're gonna take it from every little bit and piece that it is, and we're gonna turn it into that right there. So don't go anywhere, sit back, enjoy the show. If you're new to the channel, we give away stuff. We give away stuff at the end of the month. Anybody that comments on the video is gonna get a chance to win. We also threw in some Easter eggs in this episode. So all you need to do is know exactly where the Easter eggs are, and to do that, you've got to watch the show. So if you happen on the Easter egg, you're gonna get some bonus points. Just answer the question and add that to your comment. Hey, if this is your first time joining us, I'm Spanky. This is Spanky's Hot Rods and Customs. Been in the hot rod business for, oh my goodness, 30 years. This channel, I like to kind of show you how I do things, and we take adventures together and go exploring. We build cars from scratch, and I try to teach you how to do it the professional way, but on a DIY budget. If that's something you think you might be interested in, hey, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. You can always unsubscribe later if I'm not what you thought I was going to be. But anyway, today is Wednesday, midweek, and this is what we're doing today. I'm putting together a vintage Volkswagen chassis and just replacing a few of the little rubber boots. That gives the chassis a little bit of detail, plus it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It keeps the junk from getting in the spots where it don't need to go. But anyway, in a previous episode, you saw where we cleaned and painted and sandblasted and put new floors in and did all that to the chassis. Well, today I'm gonna replace this little rubber boot right here. I'm assuming that this right here slides off, and then I can slide it back on. Yep. So this is a clutch cable, and I didn't want to undo it from the front up there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and clean some of this grime off so that that'll slide back on good. While that's off, we're gonna go ahead and paint and detail the ends, and then we'll slide everything together. We got this boot in. We're gonna hook that in place. And that's just one more step on this really cool Volkswagen build. These parts are only a couple of bucks a piece, but any job worth doing is worth doing right. That just looks so much better. Let's get this cleaned up and get that shield back on. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and squirt some of this well worth shop clean on a rag so that it doesn't get everywhere. It's some pretty powerful stuff, so I don't know if I really want it on the paint. I'm just gonna clean off a little bit of this grime and stuff that's got on it from over the years. It's not rusty, it's all in good shape. Now, I don't want to put any grease on this. I'm not sure if you should use any kind of cable dressing or not, but it runs it through this tube, and the tube may or may not have a plastic sleeve inside. But I tell you what, the shop clean from Wellworth is doing its job. And this end down here, I'm gonna go ahead and paint that. Probably gonna go ahead and paint this end up here too. Now that only took a couple of seconds. Hit it with some VHT high heat cast color paint. Gotta bend that kink back out of it right there. Go ahead and take our tape off. That rubber, and nobody's ever going to see it again except for right now. You guys know that we did it right. All right, the next step is to put this nose cone, transmission nose cone seal in. Now you would think that it slides in this groove right here, but it doesn't. All it does is slides up over the tail shaft of the nose cone, tail shaft of the transmission or nose cone of the transmission, and then it just butts up against, take it back off and show you, it butts up against this right here, and it makes a seal once this is pulled through. Now that we've got that in, we're ready to put this transaxle in place. All right, let's remove the bolts. Now we're ready to pick up the transaxle, slide it in place, put the bolts back in. Well, if you're new guys to the channel, hadn't figured it out yet, I'm a one-man show. It's just me. Every once in a while, I get my lovely bride to come out here and help me, but you kind of got to be a part restoration, part mechanic, part rocket scientist with a little bit of MacGyver. Does anybody remember the MacGyver TV show? One of my favorites. Well, we got this job done. On to the next. I tell you what, that wasn't the easiest thing in the world to do. So I had to run to the hardware store and get some 13mm washers and lock nuts so that we'll be on the safe side when reassembling this Volkswagen. Now I know a lot of you guys don't quite like the Volkswagen project. You don't like the Bronco project. You want to see hot rods all the time. I get it, but I promise you, it's fun to hang out with Spanky. Regardless of what I'm doing, I'm just showing you some details and tips and tricks that I've learned over the years. You might even learn to like something that you don't necessarily like now. With me, when I grew up, all I cared about was Chevrolet muscle cars. It had to have two doors, it had to be a Chevy, and that's all there was to it. Man, what was I missing out on? Gosh, I love all cars now. There is nothing that I really don't like. Except for Volkswagens right now. This thing's been fighting me all day. All right, we got that one done. I got this bolt right here I need to put in. Let me go ahead and snug this up a little bit. We'll take it back down in a minute. Well, let's go on and do it now if we can squeeze everything in. We have fun on this channel. A lot of you guys are here every day watching something. A lot of you guys just stop by every once in a while. I appreciate each and every one of you. You're the reason that I put all this content out there. All right, we've almost got this put on. We need to put on our snubber for our bump stop. And that's it. All right, so we got these new snubber brackets. I only had one, and I was missing the other one. And the one I had was kind of in rough shape. So it made sense just to get two more. They're nice, black, powder coated. I don't have to worry about painting them or anything like that. And they match what I've already done. So it only made sense. I think they may have been $20 a piece or something like that. And by the time you spent a couple hours cleaning the one you had and buying new snubbers for both of them, you've lost money. All right, all of those are on. We'll go back over and torque those. And we got a pair of snubbers here. I'm not sure how they go on, but I guarantee you it's not easy. It doesn't seem like anything is. My mom would be mad at me for using my teeth. All right, looks like we got to push this little bitty hole down on top of that great big thing. And it ain't wanting to go. I probably could soak it in some warm water and get it to go on. Oh, I know somebody out there knows exactly how to do this. Let's pretend like it's a tire and let's put a little bit of something inside that's going to evaporate when we're done. I'm going to try some of this Wellworth window cleaner. Now, this stuff makes a windshield squeaky clean, but it does have a foaming effect like that. It's going to stay there as long as we need it to go on. Now, they don't claim that their product works for this. But Spanky says, well worth for the win. What a difference. Now that stuff will evaporate and it'll be on there forever. So this stuff works great on windows too. Well, that stuff, it was hard. All right, it's on there now. All right, what's next? Man, I tell you, after sanding on the old Camaro the other day, I have made a mess of my shop. But we're gonna go ahead and replace these wore out body bushings here with some brand new ones. Now, I thought I was gonna be able to save these, and I did. There's really nothing wrong with them. But for $1.50, and you're already paying shipping, might as well go ahead and get you some new ones. So that's what I did. Well, at 100,000 miles from now, I can look back at a video and say, hey, I remember polishing the transmission. Well, just trying to get some of this dust from the Bondo, from the Camaro, off of this thing because it looks gray instead of gloss black. But that paint had just enough friction to grab a hold of all of that dust. So let's go ahead and see if we can't knock down some of this just to say we did. Now, you know me, I'm all about driving these things. I'm not really about showing them. I mean, I want it to go. I want to drive it. I want to get use out of it. If that car knew that it was going to be sitting for the rest of its life in a collection somewhere, man, I don't want to go to the nursing home just so people can come by and see me. You know what I mean? I want to be out. I want to be working. These cars are the same way. Don't put them up. Get them bad boys out. Drive a little bit. Break it and fix it. Break it and fix it. You'll eventually get it to where it's not going to break, but all right, that looks a little bit better, a little shinier. Now let's get some brakes on this thing if we've got enough parts. Whew. All right, so the next thing I need to do is these axle ends that hold the axle in. The folks over at Custom One that supplied me with the front end and all the brakes, they thought of everything. I was fixing to order these. They had them in a kit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to take this washer, because I believe there's a new one in here. And I'm going to use it, push it over to the edge, and tap on that and try to drive that seal out. Then we're going to paint these. We're going to paint the rear brackets, caliper brackets. And hey, that was way too easy. That scared me. Watch the next one take 6 hours. All right, let's clean these up with some shop clean and paint these when we paint the brackets. I'm not going to paint the backside. I'm going to leave that mounting surface the way it is. Clean it up, of course. Leave it the way it is. It won't get any paint on it. All right, because I know that these are bare metal and they haven't rusted yet, like this, then they've got something sprayed on them. So back to the Wellsworth. So back to the Wellsworth shop clean. I'm not going to spray it out and get it all over everything, but that's a little too much power. I'm going to wipe off all the residue. This stuff will flash dry. We'll hit it with some primer, and then we'll come back and hit it with some of this caliper paint. All right, so our freshly painted part, I put it on a piece of cardboard, and I'm just going to knock in this new seal all the way around, making sure that it is seated. Of course, I'll put the little floating washer back in. Now I'm going to put this gasket on the back side of the cap. And notice on the bottom of this, there's a weep hole where the seal goes bad. It goes down inside behind the seal where this floating washer's at, and comes out that weep hole. Now, in the past, I have found out that there is dirt and debris inside that weep hole. So if there is, you'll need to take a paper clip or something and clean that out, which I had to on this. It was completely caked with dirt and debris where the axle had leaked before. If it is like that, then you'll never know that you've got an axle leaking, and it'll be slinging this stuff inside of your brake. All right, so let's put some RVT gasket maker around the outside of this. Now, some guys don't even use this RVT. They put the gasket on dry, and it's whatever works best for you. I put a thin layer of this on. Not only does it help with any of the pits and stuff that might be in the metal from over the years, but it also keeps that gasket in place when you're doing your final assembly. And always make sure that weep hole is down. Now, they send you a couple of these gaskets, but I'm only going to use one. Now let's get over there and get it on. Because I forgot to tell you, before I slid this spacer on, I slid on a new washer that goes on before that spacer. Then the rubber O-ring will go on, and then you'll put this spacer right here on. And because this was so hard to get on and off, I'm sorry, but I didn't show that. So the next step is we put the rubber O-ring on the back side right there. Then we're going to take our disc brake adapter. We're going to take our new gasket. We're going to put it to where the weep hole is down. Got that on there. Weep hole is down. Go ahead and go put some bolts in this thing so that we're all set and ready to go when we slide this up on the axle. All right, making sure that your O-ring is still in place. Slide this disc brake up on there, and hopefully we got it lined up. There's two things in life that you can definitely know you have a guarantee of. One of those is when you're using gasket maker or anti-seize, you're going to get it all over you. The next thing you can be guaranteed of is if you jump out of an airplane with a parachute, always carry an air hose, a water hose, or an extension cord, or a ratchet strap. Any of those will definitely get tied up on something on the way down and keep you from hitting the ground in case your parachute doesn't work. All right, before that stuff dries, let's get it off our hands, and then we're gonna go around here and get it off of our freshly painted parts. All right, let's tighten. Now I'm gonna have to find out exactly what these things torque at. I know somebody out there is watching and tell me. If I had to guess, I'm gonna say probably about 35 foot-pounds, like some of the other stuff similar to this on this car. But I'm gonna have to find out for sure, but I'm gonna go ahead and just snug these down before I find out. All right, I gotta get my hands clean with some of these scrub nut hand wipes. Get these from Benchmark Abrasives. Scrub nuts. If you ever want to get clean, it gets all that junk off. Anyway, let's get back to this. Next thing we got to do, we're emptying boxes. Really good to get rid of boxes. We got these new calipers. Got to get them out. Grease them just a little bit so we know they're sliding back and forth. Get the brake pads out and let's get them put on. Disc brakes on a Volkswagen, front and rear. How's that? How cool is that? I don't know why I keep wiping my hands off because everything gets greasy. But anyway, here we go again. I figured it out from remembering what I did on the white Volkswagen that I did for my wife. We're gonna go ahead and put some of this synthetic caliper grease and brake quiet. I'm gonna go ahead and put that on the backs of the brake pads and on the little clips. That's going to be nice and quiet. That way all the other Volkswagens out there that don't have disc brakes won't hear you coming and get all upset. Here we go. These pins just need to be pushed down a little bit to where everything goes where it's supposed to. Now we need to see if we can get this caliper back together. All right, got that done. Reassemble the slider, the caliper. I'm sure this has got a torque setting too, but I don't know what it is.
They say the second one always goes faster. Hey, tell me what that was I put on there to make those things quiet, and you may have an extra chance of winning a t-shirt for a bonus comment question.
All right. I wish you guys had told me sooner that I had these brackets on wrong. That's not gonna work. These have to go to the rear. Why didn't you tell me? Anyway, let's do it all over.
Yeah, that's all part of it. Learn from your mistakes. Hey, at least I admitted I made a mistake. I could have edited all that out.
All right. I got this one swapped back around. Got to clean up a little bit. Got to retorque these. I'm sure it was perfect the first time, and now I'm sure I'm going to have a leak or something. It's always like that, isn't it? Good thing is, this thing's going on easy now. Leave that loose so we'll know that. All right, now where were we? Now the calipers come with some shims so that you can get this in the right location. All right, so what we're going to do is go ahead and fasten this in, and then we're going to check and see how far the pads are off on each side and whether or not we need to shim it one way or the other. You hear it rubbing? Well, we're not torqued down. Hang on. All right, I need to put some shims in between this even before I torque it down. I can see. This is one I wish I had one of you guys holding this for me. Oh yeah, that looks a lot better. All right, now we'll get that torqued down. See where we're at. Well, right there. You don't hear anything. So tap it just a little bit. It's wanting to run off. But once it's torqued down 250 foot-pounds, it's not going to rub anything. It's just floating in the air. Man, I'll tell you what, this was a mess. Lots of grime and grit. I'll give you guys a little up-close view of it here in just a second. I'll get my hands clean so I can touch the camera. Got another scrub nut, pre-wet cloth out of the dispenser, white, whatever you want to call it. I tell you what, it's a good thing these things are on the cheap end, low cost end, because I go through a lot of them today. And if you don't like the wet towelettes that are already ready to pull out, Scrub Nut makes a dispenser that you can put in your bathroom, in your shop, and it's the walnut shells crumbled in it and everything. Smells really good. And the only bad part about these scrub nuts is that when I go inside, my wife thinks I've got a little girlfriend out here or something, because these things smell pretty good. The hand cleaner even smells better than this. So, but anyway, back to this. I wish you guys had caught me on this. It wasn't really that big a deal. 5 minutes to take it apart, flip the bracket around, make sure that I'm not crushing any kind of seals or anything, and put it all back together. Got these things adjusted out. Now I'll probably have to go back and adjust these calipers a little bit more. Right now, because I've taken them on and off, these things are sliding in and out, so they need to be torqued down to 250. There's no way I could torque them down to 250 right now with no motor, no body or anything like that on there. All it wants to do is pick this thing up. If you want to know how I do it, check out the Volkswagen, the little white Volkswagen that I did a couple of years ago for my wife. I lowered it, put disc brakes on it and stuff, and I showed you how I got that nut on and off without having to do an impact or anything like that. So last thing to do back here, besides putting the motor and stuff in, is to replace these emergency brake cables. Now, the kit that I bought came with the cables. All I need to do is go up to the the emergency brake handle, release the cable. At the same time, probably pull a shoestring or a wire or something through it with this, and then that way I can tie it to that and feed it right back, right where it needs to go, because I don't believe they're in any kind of a sleeve or anything in there. I think it's just a loose cable. I could be wrong, but I believe that once it goes into that cavity right there, it's just wandering free. I'm not sure. Never been inside of one of those. Thank goodness. Anyway, let's get these old cables off, fish a line through, and get these new cables on. Then we'll move to the front brakes.
Well, come to find out, it was pretty simple. There is a little sleeve in there that cable slides in. But you pretty much have to take off the emergency brake handle and everything just to know that you got your new cables in the right spot. Plus, it's a good thing because now it gives me a chance to paint and detail that. We'll get it all looking nice and brand new. We'll probably put some leather over it, cover it up really good later when we do the interior. But for now, it's got a all new bushings and sleeved it really good and painted it and sanded it, and yeah, it's going to work out really good. Got the new cables in, got them all hooked up to the rear disc brakes, got them hooked back up to the handles, painted the levers. Detail is the key to everything, and I think we've done a good job on the emergency brake system. All right, let's dig into these boxes and see what we got. This is cool. Now what we have here is some brand new drilled and slotted rotors. And these are going to go on the front. So we're going to get these things out and get these new seals and races installed. And then we're going to pack the bearings. And we're going to get the bearings installed. And then we're going to slide these on the front. And that way this thing's going to have four-wheel disc brakes. This is pretty straightforward stuff here. Just using some PVC and driving in the seals. And I'm using a socket to drive in the races. So this is the old school palm technique on putting a glob of grease in your hand and just pinching off a little bit at a time until you fill up those bearings. Now I've got one of those little fancy bearing packers, and it's like an exploding grease gun in my shop every time I use it.
All right, front rotors are on, bearings are packed, seals are in, hubs are tight, and now I am putting the front calipers on. Just checking to see. We're going to have to put some shims in these just like we did the rear. And it looks like we're probably going to go and start with the thickest ones we got. And coated them really good with the brake grease, so they're not going to be squeaking. I had one of my shims fall out. I hadn't tightened it down yet, but there's no squeaking. Take these shims to the other side, along with the bolts and the grease. All right, so basically these calipers come loaded. I'm just going to squeeze this over, go in there and hit the back of these with the grease. Yeah, you don't want to put it on the front side. Not very good to grease down your brakes on the front side. So it's been a long day. I hope I get all this done. I got to make another run to the hardware store and get some metric grade 8 bolts. All right, we got those in. Get them back in place. It's hard enough just getting the bolt in. Now you got to get the bolt in with a shim behind it. I think this looks pretty good. I'm going to try to go with this. Like I said, after it's all together, I may have to go back and do some adjusting. So after this, all I've got left to do is my front tie rod ends, the brake lines, the fuel lines, and yeah, I'm putting the engine in. And then cranking it up, this should be able to run and drive around the block. It'd just be a really, really cool go-kart. And then it's back onto the body work. We got to finish the body work, start painting it. We got to make a convertible top for it, replace all the convertible top parts, the wood parts, the foam parts, get the glass back in it. And I'm looking at it while I'm talking just to kind of get an idea of what I've got to do. But yeah, I've got a lot to do. Whether you like Volkswagens done up in a hot rod style or not, you're gonna get something out of this video. You're gonna get something out of the channel. So do me a favor right now and smash that like button and yeah, step on that loud subscribe pedal. So let me tighten these things down before I forget, and then we'll move on to the next part. Well, after another yet expensive run to the hardware store for metric nuts and bolts, we're ready to assemble the chassis.
First thing we'll tackle is go ahead and remove this old hardware from the shocks and put on the new hardware. One more step at almost being done with the chassis. We'll do this on both sides and then move on.
So yesterday I took the emergency brake handle apart and painted all the internals, cleaned the button with some lacquer thinner, and now it's time to get this thing back together. I've also greased it, and if I'm not mistaken, this is how it goes back together. You got the little teeth right there that are going to go on those teeth. It's not clocked right. Let's bring it around this way. Sometimes when your cables get loose on these things, they get unclocked. And that little pin goes up inside this lever like that. That holds that in there. This piece goes up in there like that, and it locks in place. Now we can guide all of our cables through the channel. We'll put that through. Got that in. We're going to go ahead and put these nuts down on the cable. Get it snug in place. All right, so without any weight being on the chassis, it's really hard to get your shocks and stuff on. I liked just about a 1/16 of an inch, so I put this strap around it, went ahead and pulled it up a couple of clicks and got my shocks on and got them all bolted in.
All right, so after doing the same thing to the front shocks, got them all on, and then it's time to move on to the drag link tie rod ends and get all of the steering gear hooked up to the steering box. Get all that bolted in place and adjusted, and then we're done with that part of it. Time to move on to the next step.
Back to the hardware store once again, more metric bolts. Now I've got one of those Ace Hardwares right down the street that has a huge supply of every kind of nut, bolt, fastener you would want. But let me tell you, the metric shock bolts for the rear of this car, I just spent $5 a piece on them just so that they look good. Then I had to go back and get metric hardware to hold the master cylinder in that I'm putting in right now. We'll get that in, and While I was off camera, I went ahead and ran all the hard lines along the inside of the pan. Got those fasteners in. So that's just one more step. So I get this in, and if I've got all of the original splitters, I can find those, then I might be able to button up the brakes today. I'm not going to be able to bleed them. I'm probably going to have to pull this master back off and bench bleed it, but I don't know for sure.
All right, we got all the brake lines on, got everything adjusted, waiting for brake fluid. Let's throw some wheel studs in. Why wheel studs? So we can test fit these beautiful, empty Porsche 911 style wheels. These wheels are one of my favorite wheels of all time, especially on any air-cooled car. I use them quite a bit. I've got a set of original ones on my Porsche, and I can't wait to show you guys what we're going to do to those to make those just out of the park different. But we're talking about Volkswagen stuff now, so let's do the other side real quick, and then we're going to get this thing sitting on the blocks, and we're going to see what it looks like from a distance, and we're going to see some of the other details that we've done to this. But hey, stick around to the end of the video. I've got something really special to tell you about, and hey, you might have a chance to get yourself some spanky swag for nothing just by commenting on this video. So don't go anywhere. Let's check out what we've got next, and don't forget to comment at the end of the video so your name goes in a hat to win something cool.
Well, you guys know how valuable real estate is inside this shop. I've got 13 cars in a 5-car garage, plus all the equipment that I've got. Yep, they're stacked with lifts. I give you that. But even if they weren't stacked with lifts, I would still be out of room if I didn't use casters underneath all the tires, or car dollies, if you want to call them that. I've got probably at least 7 sets of those. And I decided I wanted to try something different. I went on Amazon, I had a little bit of extra money set aside, and I bought myself these little casters right here. Now the wheels are larger. They've got locks on at least one wheel, 2 wheels, locks on 2 wheels. And the main thing is they're flat on top. So what I'm gonna do, if you've seen the video where I made these, I'll put a link right there at the end of the video. So when you see that, you can click on those and see how I made these. Now I made these probably 25 years ago. I've made a set since that I keep in the paint booth to keep the car up high enough where I could work rockers and stuff like that when I need to. But this set right here, we're gonna put underneath the Volkswagen chassis that we just got through putting together. Now I've got wheels on it just to test fit the wheels, make sure they're clear and everything. But let's see if these little dollies work pretty good. So I measured my blocks before I bought the dollies, and they fit perfect. Now what I might want to do is go ahead and drill these dollies and put a set screw or a pin in them, or maybe even a wood screw to screw these things to it if I'm planning on keeping it like this. What I'm going to do is put these underneath here, and that way I can move this chassis around, because I'm fixing to do a little bit of rearranging with some cars. So I need to move this chassis out now that it's completely put together minus the motor. So let's put these things together. Actually, they come together. Let me show you. This is how they come. This is the box when they came in. And of course, I'm going to put a link in the description. And if you happen to go over and buy a set of these, then I'm going to make a little bit of commission off of them. That's how all that Amazon stuff works with these affiliate links. It helps the channel out. So, hey, even if you don't decide to buy these, next time you buy something on Amazon, click this link, and whatever you buy, we'll get a little bit of commission off of it. So anyway, and your price will still be the same. So anyway, these are made by KEDSUM. Yep, they're probably imported, KEDSUM. But let me tell you, I've looked at the welds. Everything looks great. It's got quality wheels on them. Like I said, 2 locks, and they really, really, really glide. So we're going to test them out here and see if they glide as well as they do on a car as they do off the car. So far, so good. But hey, all we're testing them on right now is a little Volkswagen chassis. So how heavy could that be? We really need to put them through a test. One more to go. And what these things do for me, it allows me, if I need a few extra feet on a project, I can scoot the car over just a little bit on either side of me. And now I've got extra room to walk around. Like right now, this Volkswagen chassis is pushed away. This car's pushed over that way just a little bit. Well, anyway, let's see these things work.
Now, of course, you know these work fine without using these wooden blocks. You just use them underneath your normal rubber tires. But I have this thing elevated so I can continue to work on it, and I do need to move it out of the way to do a little bit of rearranging. So I use the wooden stands instead of rubber tires. Looks like they work great.
Folks, I'm not kidding. This is very lightweight, painted smooth concrete floors. But look, just one hand and I can move this thing anywhere I want it to go. Even just pushing it with my finger. So, you know, it's gonna be a little bit harder if the car was full, like this Impala, but I can show you this Impala, I've gotta give it everything I got and bump it to get those casters to spin around where they're supposed to go. They're just a little bit too small. Now that's a high-end set right there that I bought, made in the USA, very, very nice, very heavy duty. I just wish the casters were a little bit bigger and a little bit better so they're easier to push. But that's a heavy car. But anyway, if you've got a small garage and you need a little bit of space, whether you make these things on your own, weld them, go down the street, buy you some casters, or do what I did and just drop about 150 to 175 bucks, I believe. Anyway, I'm not really sure what I spent on them, but it was well worth it. Because now, if I need extra room on that car, all I have to do is push this over, just like that. So I think it was pretty good. So anyway, 2 thumbs up to KEDSUM. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. KEDSUM. And I got them on Amazon. There'll be a link in the description. So I appreciate you watching, guys. I appreciate you keeping up with me on everything. If you like this Volkswagen build, got a lot of videos on it. The Impala, the 32, another 32 coming in any day. A couple of Bronco videos, a Porsche series, 36 Pontiac series, the Chevelle, the 32 Roadster pickup truck, and the square body C10. Anyway, check out my videos. If you got something out of this one, I appreciate you like, tag, sharing, subscribing. It really helps the channel grow. This isn't a very good t-shirt to show you, but anybody that comments on any of the videos, gives it a thumb up. You have to comment so I know who you are. If you comment, your name goes in a hat. Every single month, I pull out names out of that hat and ship t-shirts to you. I'll send you a personal message from me, not a scam. All right, so a personal message from me to the reply that you gave me, okay? Got to make sure it came from me. I won't ask for any money. All I need to do is find out what your address is, all right? So anyway, like, tag, share, and subscribe. As always, get out in the garage and go build something. See you guys in the next episode. I got to get back to work on this. It ain't going to get built by itself. I left the door unlocked for the ferries. They never show up.
We'd like to thank our sponsors, Benchmark Abrasives, Wellworth Products, Driven Racing Oil, Mr. Lugnut. These guys make it possible for us to give you guys all the stuff that we do. So please stop by one of our sponsors and share the love and support them.